I visited the van in the recent cold snap and just wanted to get something from inside. But unfortunately, the lock was frozen, or so I thought. I returned when everything was thawed, and yes, you've guessed it, the lock was broken. In this video, we're going to show how we changed the barrel. To gain access to the lock assembly, we need to move these three covers. This red one here, and the green one at the bottom, and this one branded Hartal. That'll give us access to the screws, and we can undo that and take the lock assembly off the door. There we are, we got the blanking plate removed. It took me about 15 minutes to get the red one out of the top without doing damage. As you can see, there are a few little marks, but it's unavoidable, and one on the bottom. I did put this tape on to minimize it, so we'll whip the screws out and we'll see where we are. That's the 4 screws removed from the lock mechanism. As you can see, there's 2 long ones and 2 short ones. The short ones go where the coloured buttons were. So the lock's loose now, and all we're going to do is take it away, revealing the inside of the mechanism. And the front piece of the door now just lifts away. There we are. Right, back to the house now to swap the barrels over. Okay, here we are with the locking mechanism back at home. Now we're going to have to undo this circlip, which the circlip pliers pull it that way and that way, which will then release this plate. And I've noticed there's a notch in that plate there, so that's the way, that's the orientation of it. And I'm hoping then by removing them, this stem will come out and give me access to the lock. Apologise for the shadows, but I'm starting to lose the light from outside, so it's getting a little bit dark here. So we'll crack on with the circlip. That's the circlip and the silver plate removed, but in order to remove the plate, to stop it fouling on the mechanism, I had to press that down, which is the handle on the outside. That's what happens when you pull the handle, and then I was able to lift the plate off the column. I'm not sure if you noticed, you heard the spring dislodge before, and it was really difficult to get it back into position. So be careful when you're taking that plate off that you don't dislodge the spring. So there's a groove there. I hope the camera's picking it up. I'll try to show you where it is. It's hard to, where's me thing? There's a groove there, so the spring sits in that, on there, on that spindle, and then sits behind. So try not to operate the door mechanism because the spring will dislodge. I think we're back in business with the spring. Now unfortunately, like some of the best vloggers, I've lost some footage, and this shows the barrel. If it was unlocked in this position and inserting a pin, it would release the barrel from the bush. I'd actually be pushing down that last pin by my left thumb, and that would release the barrel from the bush. Unfortunately, the levers within my lock had collapsed and were jamming it, and I was unable to remove the barrel from the bush. Took the jammed barrel to my local locksmiths, and they drilled it out and refitted the new Eckersall barrel into the bush. So now we'll fit the bush into the handle. There's the narrow and the wider channel there, so it's just a question of lining them up like so, and then just pushing it home all the way. Use the key until it's in. And there we are, that's it in the lock. Now we'll return to the back side and put that retaining clip on and the circlip. Here we have the retaining plate with the cutout at the front, which goes there. So we'll just slide that over there and fit it, and then we can carry on with the circlip. That's the plate fitted. You can see with the cutout there that corresponds with that raised plastic edge. And now we just need the circlip to go over the top and into the groove there. I'll do that off camera. It's a little bit difficult for me to do it with the assembly in front of the camera. So just bear with. Here we are. That's the barrel fitted back in the lock assembly. And turn it over the other side. You see the circlips in place in the groove at the bottom, and the metal plate is back in its position with the notch at the front. So we're good to go, and the door is actually locked at the moment. Put the key in and we can turn the barrel. So now it's a question of taking it back to the van and refitting it to the door, and hopefully we'll be good to go. Here we are then, frosty morning down at the storage. I must admit, it's days like this when I like me Protect cover, keep all that frost off all the joints. So the job in hand, let's refit the lock to the door. Just check that the weather seal is in good condition before we refit it. So ours is okay, so we'll go ahead with reinstalling the lock assembly. Very simple, just to put the exterior part of the lock through the hole and mate it up to the inside one. Now the screws, and if you remember, it was the long ones at the front and the short ones at the back, and we've got those here. So I'll just thread those in finger tight for now, and then we'll tighten it up. I put the screws in place. They're only finger tight at the moment. You can see there's a bit of a gap there. It's not tightly done up. And make sure that the housing's located properly. And what I'm going to do now is just nip up the screws a little, each one at a time, until we've got it nice and tight against the van, and then we can check the operation. Here we are, we're all refitted. The screws have done up tight, but not too tight. Bear in mind that you're only screwing into a plastic sheath. You don't want to over tighten it and strip the thread. So now the moment of truth. Let's see if the door will shut. There, shuts, opens. There we are. Seems to be okay, and check it locks. Key out. There we go. Unlocks. Great, seems fine. Just put the fittings back on now, and remember the Hartal emblem goes there, and the red and the green, we were thinking traffic lights, red at the top, green at the bottom, just to cover the screws. So we'll do that now. There we go. Job's all done. Good stuff. Big triple C thank you to Andy at A&L Leisure in Frome, Somerset, who provided excellent customer service and supplied a barrel key to my existing keys, and also to Eckersall Locksmiths in St Helens, who drilled out my broken lock and refitted the new lock to the barrel. Thanks guys.